Hello, my darlings, and welcome to the finale of Tea Time for the final season of, or the final episodes of Bridgerton Season 1. I am always your delightful host, LeighErin and joined by my co-host,
Jordan Deeb.
And we're all dressed up for the ball today.
We got dressed up for the finale. I heard people in the comments were upset about my lack of dress. How do you like me now?
Look at us. We got Jordan with his high collar, points going right in the chin.
Yeah.
I've got my gloves, all my diamonds.
Oh, you can't see because of my mic, but this is it's two separate pieces. We got the vest going too.
Yeah. No.
Yeah.
I'm in a gown. Everything's great.
You look great.
We got as always, we have our teas. My stomach has been upset, so I'm just drinking a nice English breakfast, going real simple.
Nice. I am drinking a traditional Arab tea. You might be asking, Jordan, what makes it traditionally Arab? Well, it has trouble getting through airports, but on top of that, it's a lot of dried mint in black tea, and it hits the spot. It's very, very good in the summer when my family has fresh mint growing, but the dried mint is very good too. Oh shit, hold on, before we start.
I look like an asshole.
No, you look fine. I left my phone on my dresser. Just 1 second.
Oh, my face itches.
Oh, wait. You guys thought I was wearing pants under this?
I know. Jordan's allowed to just have a top on. I can't have just a top on.
Oh, who doesn't like Donald Duck in it?
I just physically can't. I don't think it's possible to wear a dress and Donald Duck it.
I mean, technically you are. It's a dress. What is a dress but a long shirt?
It took me 10 minutes to zip this up by myself. If shirts took me 10 minutes to get on, I'd be concerned.
Fair enough.
All right. Are you ready to... Sorry, I can't roll my chair without pulling up all my skirts. Are you ready to dive into the last 2 episodes of Bridgerton?
I am.
Season?
I have thoughts.
Oh, I'm sure you do. Hang on 1 second. I just want to...
We should also make an active effort. I think mine's almost going to be done here, but we got to keep our pinkies up when we sip today. It's only fitting.
We're going to see how well that goes with me having these gloves on.
You know what? That's fair. Don't shatter glass in the middle of recording, because that one I won't let Alec cut out.
Oh, thanks, Jordan. Damn.
Anytime.
All right. Anyways, I got the one fucking curl thing.
Yeah.
Going. I don't know who thought this was a good style, but for years, this was a thing.
Well, why don't you tell the audience what your hair inspiration is today?
So my hair, listen, I've been doing complicated hairstyles all 4 weeks of this. And the first week was
First week was Pirates of the Caribbean, right?
No, first week was just a bun, curly bun updo with some strands down. It was just simple. Second week was Pirates of the Caribbean.
Yeah.
Was Keira Knightley as Elizabeth Swann, her longer, more casual updo. Last week was Keira Knightley in Anna Karenina's updo, and this is because I needed something. I was playing something different originally, but you couldn't see the tiara.
Mm-hmm.
Listen, I got too much fucking hair to pin it all up, so I did this with my one ringlet. We got the nice little bun in the back, and this is Hermione Granger's Yule Ball hairstyle. Which is way simpler than I thought it was. Talk about a hairstyle that looks way more complicated than it actually is.
Yeah, that was one of my first sexual awakenings. Was when she was walking down those stairs, and I was
I love that
9.
dress.
Yeah.
When I went shopping for my prom dress for my senior prom, they had a dress that looked a lot like that, but it was a chiffon, and it was this kind of dusty periwinkle color, not pink, and sorry, I almost got it.
Hers was pink and purplish?
Yeah, it was a pink, ombre thing.
Yeah.
I also somewhere have the earrings she wears in the Yule Ball. My parents bought them for me, but I think I left them in New York when I moved.
Fair.
I think I know exactly where they are in my parents' house.
Are they authentic earrings, or are they plastic? These are for a costume?
No, they're metal. They're because I can't wear cheap costume earrings. It
yeah.
my ears hurt really badly. This is cheap costume jewelry from Claire's. I actually wore this to my senior prom
Beautiful.
wore this to my senior prom, but I had a much lower, I was wearing a strapless, like, lower neckline to my prom. I don't know, I own my prom dress. I don't know if it still fits me. Anyways, so yes, we are diving right into episode 7, Oceans Apart. We open with a very awkward dinner between the Duke and Daphne, where basically, okay, here's the thing. I don't like that he's like, you cannot move out of my bedchamber because I have to watch to see if you're pregnant. I'm like, she doesn't have to be in the same bedchamber.
So last week you mentioned like 2 things he does in the beginning of this episode, and I was like, did I miss him say this? And I was like, oh no, you got ahead.
Yeah, I think episode 6, 7, and 8 kind of all blur together in my brain. And I didn't realize that episode 7 had started playing. And so I thought that, no, I got a little messed up. Anyways, yeah, he's like, you can't move out of my bedchamber. Daphne requests it. She says what is very true, that was traditionally husband and wife slept apart after their honeymoon, and their honeymoon is well past. Simon has no right to be mad in this situation, and it really drives me crazy that he is.
Sorry, I think I was muted. Fuck. Wait, after the honeymoon, they would permanently sleep in separate rooms? Way back when? Mm-hmm. So if, like, you were baby...
You think men fucked their mistresses?
But, like, if they were baby making, or if they were actually in love.
Go into your husband's room, or your husband would come into your room. That's where the term bar you from my bed comes from, is, like, women would lock the doors, like, their bedroom doors, so that their husband couldn't get in.
Wild.
And the idea was your husband came in, fucked you, and then went back to his room.
That's romantic.
Yeah. They did connect. Like, there was a door that would connect the Duchess and Duke's bedrooms, or, like, whatever. But, like, Lady Featherington and her husband don't sleep in the same bed.
Oh.
Like, that's why she, later on, we'll talk about this later, but she's looking in the room, and it's just, like, a double bed. That's his room, not hers.
Gotcha.
Yeah, and it was... Being in love wasn't, like, in fashion then, which is why, like, we get to Lady Danbury's, like, den of sin. They're all like, oh, the love match, is because, like, that's just not a big part of relationships back then. And so a lot of women were just like, okay, for a week, we fuck a bunch. I hope I get pregnant. We move along, you know? Yeah.
What we all want out of life.
Yeah. So then they get the edition of Lady Whistledown.
Yeah.
And Daphne reads it and sees that Colin has been embroiled in a scandal, that Marina was pregnant and tried to manipulate him into marriage. She correctly says that she needs to return home at once. Simon insists on going with her.
Which would have been the correct thing to do.
Yes. And I love Daphne's line of, he's not doing it for the right reason, but it's the correct thing to do.
Yes.
I love Daphne's line of, prepare the biggest carriage, I shall need my space. It's still a carriage. You're not getting very far away from this man.
No.
You know, like, you're still, like, all packed in. So then, we arrive at Bridgerton House. Simon goes to prepare Hastings' house for them to sleep that night, while Daphne goes in to talk. Colin is being a little bitch. Everybody's like, you fucked up, my man, and, like, fuck that lady. Fuck Marina, and Anthony kind of has to be like, you didn't know her. Like,
yeah,
nobody wanted to be like, I told you so in that situation, but also like, I
told you so.
And Colin is still intent on that it's a lie, that Marina's not actually pregnant. He storms out, Daphne follows. And Benedict has a fun line where he goes, why aren't you on your honeymoon, to Daphne? And she's like, well, we had to return. And her and Violet are talking about how, like, it's like, of course Daphne had to return because their stance, them coming out in support of the Bridgertons, will help keep the Bridgertons from being affected by the scandal.
Yeah.
And I love Benedict going, He must be cursing the Bridgerton name. He is, but not for the reason you think, Benedict.
No, not at all.
And then Colin storms out like a child. Daphne follows him. Daphne agrees to create a meeting where she will chaperone a meeting with him and Marina.
So, is it because that she's a married woman now that she's an acceptable chaperone?
Yes.
Okay.
Also, in this particular case, it's probably also that, again, she's not going to fuck her brother. But,
yeah.
Yes, it's mostly because she's married now, so she's an acceptable chaperone.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, is like, if this happened before the wedding, would she still have been an acceptable one? Because obviously, yes, you could assume nothing dirty's going to happen there, but...
No, not really, because it would have to be, like... Realistically, it would have to be, like, somebody else, like, somebody outside the family.
Yeah. Also, it was so funny. She's like, I'm going to chaperone. They're in the room. It's like, Daphne, we all know you're not fucking reading that book. Just put it away. You don't have to...
it's also awkward. She can't leave because she has to chaperone.
But, like, it's like, you all know she's there to listen to what you're saying. If she's a decent enough person, she won't interrupt unless things get really bad. And, like, she did the right thing of, like, not standing right there. But let's be honest. You're not reading the fucking book. Just sit in the corner.
Yeah, but it's just, like, something to do. I don't know. I get it. So that all, we haven't gotten there yet, but they agree to have this meeting. Daphne returns back to the Hastings house. Simon is out just boxing with Will, because that's how Simon solves all of his problems.
Just by punching something. Just
punching Will. And I love when he comes home, so Daphne peers out the doorway, and he turns and sees the door, and she shuts it, and he's like,
I've seen you.
I see you already. Like, I've made eye contact with you. Like, I see you.
Yeah.
I don't know why they do anything on the stairs. I mean, I do, but, like, you're on the stairs. Like, anybody could come up and just see your wife's vagina
Yeah,
right
but
now.
I feel like we had this conversation last week. As a servant, it's your duty to just see whoever you're serving fucking, and you got to deal with that.
Still, like, come on.
All right, this is my house.
Also, mean that he just, like, eats her out and then's like, I
mean, like, he could have been worse. He could have gotten all the pleasure and been like, yeet. But
okay, so here's the thing that I've never thought about before. I don't know how the word about blowjobs travels. Okay, because, like, here's the thing. You
spit it out. Spit.
I'm trying to think how to phrase it.
Who came up with it?
No, not who came up with it. My assumption from everything I have read and everything I've seen is that, like, if you went to a prostitute, she would know to, like, suck your dick.
Yes.
But, like, if you're, like, a highborn, like, gentle-bred woman, it's not something mom is gonna tell you. So, like,
but I feel like
the only person who can tell you is your husband.
And she'd be like, well, where did you hear that from?
Yeah. And, like, there's a scene in Eloise's book where her husband,
requests the fellatio?
No, he performs oral on her. And then later on, she was like, what you did the other night, can I do that to you? And he's basically like, yes, but not until we're married. Like, we have to be married when that happens.
He eats her out before they're married.
It's a long story. Eloise does some stupid shit.
I mean, I would expect it. And you know what? Good for her.
Yeah.
But I love how that's his line. He's like, I can touch you, but you don't dare touch me till we're married.
Well, I think because the idea was at the time, it wasn't like, fuck yeah, I get a blowjob. It was that prostitutes gave blowjobs. Like, you were lucky if your wife wanted to do that, but, like, as a man of honor, you would feel bad having your wife do that before you're married.
I don't know. To me, it just seems like I don't see how doing it versus receiving it's any worse.
I don't know. It's a big thing. It's a big thing in romance novels where the guy, like, the line for them is, like, first, second, third base, and then they'll be like, we have to stop until we're married, and it's like, we're already here.
Yeah.
No, we're already here. So then it's the next day. Colin and Daphne are in Daphne's sitting room. Marina enters looking fucking ridiculous. She looks so dumb.
Anytime women in these period pieces have that little cloak thing with just the hood, it feels very... It's called a what?
Coverlet.
Because we've seen them... This is the now third time we've seen them. Because we first saw them when Marina and... I only found out last night her name was Portia. Is that the first time they say her first name?
No, I just never remember what it is, and you've asked me like 3 times, and every time I'm like...
Yeah. But anyway, Mrs. Portia Featherington, if people haven't picked up on who I'm talking about, when they wear it and they go to, like, you know, the skeevy part of town or whatever, like, that's always the thing. It's like somebody drops off there, like, boom. Like, it's always sketchy looking. And then Daphne has it when she's, like, on the fucking horse at the end of the 3rd episode.
Yeah.
And she's just, like, going to, like, it's so dramatic the way they shot it. And it's like...
You're, like, doing this.
Yeah, because that's how she looked on the horse. But yeah, anytime they have those things with the hoods, it's like, it's a very specific look. You're either about to run away or doing something sketchy.
Yeah.
And Marina's doing both.
And yeah, so Marina comes in, gives this whole spiel about, like, she didn't mean to hurt Colin and, like, all of this crap. And it's like, sucks to suck, bitch. Like, you fucked up. I don't know, like, what you want here. Colin says, you know, oh, it's true, which the fact that he doesn't think it's true before he hears it from her mouth, I'm like, you sweet summer child.
Has Lady Whistledown lied at any point this season, Colin?
Yeah, like, has she ever lied? Like, why would she lie about this? Marina admits that, yes, it is true, that this was her only option. Colin delivers the zinger where he's like, if you had just told me what was going on, I would have married you. Because
Bullshit.
That's how in love I thought you were. What?
Bullshit.
I don't think it is. I think he truly thought he was so in love with her that he'd be like, I have... Like, that's gonna hit that, like, I am a gentleman and I must protect...
This poor woman.
Women. Because they are of the lesser sex.
They are weak, so we must protect them.
However, watching this made me realize it sets Colin's season up really well, because in Colin's book, this doesn't happen, this whole storyline doesn't happen in the book, of Colin getting, like, fucked. In the book, when his season comes about, Colin, for some reason, is very jaded against the whole thing, and against the idea, very against the idea. But they never give an idea,
they never give a reason why.
They never really give a reason. They give a very vague one, which is basically that he doesn't want to lose his freedom. And
so it's like he kind of has the same view as Eloise, but not from, like, a gender perspective.
It's more that he's the 3rd son. Very little money is coming to him, like, and he's got to figure out his own thing, but he doesn't want to be a priest and he doesn't want to join the army. So, like, Anthony's a good older brother, so he's going to provide for them, but he wants to be able to stand on his own, and, like, it's a whole fucking thing.
Was being a lawyer or a doctor considered respectable, or was that considered a trade?
It's considered a trade.
That's dumb.
Being a doctor or a lawyer, you could still be in those circles. You would still be invited for dinner and all that stuff, but, like, and you might be invited to balls, but not at the same level that somebody with a title is.
But I mean, like,
William's
getting invited and he's a boxer.
That's because he's friends with Simon, and Simon's like, fuck society. Like, I make my own rules.
Fair. So is that, like, I don't know, were there any actual jobs that he could do that weren't clergy or army?
Yeah, and, like, this isn't really a spoiler because we've seen the setup for it. So Benedict starts selling his art.
But how is artist not considered a trade?
Because, it's because he's a second son, he's allowed to go more into, like, the artsy stuff, because it's considered, like, that, like, he has a vision, and, like...
Yeah, like a doctor that
you can create an event out of him being an artist, because you can be like, oh, well, my brother's paintings are hanging in the National Gallery, which ends up... What happens with that? His paintings end up in the National Gallery. Colin, basically starts publishing writings about his travel. Is how he ends up making money, but him getting there is very bizarre. Gotcha. And, like, for a very long time, he's like, no, why would I do that? And he has to be like, why wouldn't you?
I have 2 questions about, like, the future of the show. One, are they going in the same order as the books in terms of the season? 2, what is the order?
Okay, so they are going in order. It's Daphne's book, The Duke and I, is first, just like the first season. The next book is called The Viscount Who Loved Me, which is about Anthony and Kate. That's this season that comes out in like 2 weeks. Then it's Benedict's book called Offer from a Gentleman, and it's him and his love interest, Sophie, who I'm very excited for. Sophie's my favorite heroine that's not a Bridgerton. I love her. Then it's Colin. That one's called Romancing Mr. Bridgerton, and that's him and Penelope. Then it's Eloise's book, To Sir Philip with Love, which is about her and Sir Philip, which we'll talk about in a second. Then it's Francesca's book, which is her second marriage after her first husband dies.
So,
her and a Scottish guy named Michael.
Is she going to get married off screen, or is it something that's going to be like a B plot in, like, let's just say Colin season?
I'm assuming so. Francesca is married to John by Colin's season, so I have a
B plot
feeling
during
that
Benedict's.
Yeah, I have a feeling that we'll meet John, and that will be like a little B plot in season 3. We'll probably see Francesca and John a little bit in season 4, and then season 5 takes place completely away from London. We won't see anyone but Eloise and Sir Philip. Realistically, and then season 6 will be John has died and Francesca's new husband. And then season 7 is Hyacinth's season, because even though Gregory's older, Hyacinth would get married before him.
Yeah,
that's Hyacinth and Garrett, and I'm really excited for that season because that's my favorite book out of all 8. And Garrett is Lady Danbury's great nephew. So she's in a fuck ton of that book. Like, there are so many scenes with her, and I'm really excited for it. And then it's Gregory's episode, and his wife's name is Lucy, and that's the one where, like, the main conflict is that Lucy's engaged to a guy that's gay and has no interest in marrying her, but his dad has interest in them marrying. And that's the order. And they are planning to do all 8 in that order.
Interesting.
Because that's also how it would happen. So in this, I think Anthony's like 26, and so he's getting married at like 27. And then Offer from a Gentleman is 3 years later. 4 years later, Benedict turns 30 in that book. And then Colin, because now he's in his later 20s, so on and so forth.
Yeah.
Because Eloise gets married at like 24. She gets married so much later in life.
Wow.
And Francesca's like 25 and 24, 25 in her book, but she's been married once before.
Gotcha.
And Hyacinth is just so much younger than all of them. I think she's 20 in her book. It's her second season. Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay.
That's the whole setup. And then the spin-off is going to be the prequel series.
About Violet.
About that generation. I don't know if they're going to do a season about Violet, because there isn't a book about Edmund and Violet. Just because you see so much of it, especially in Anthony's book. You see, like, flashbacks.
Ooh.
Yeah. Edmund Bridgerton is in season 2.
Oh, shit.
They filmed flashbacks.
Did they do de-aging shit with Violet? Like, are we going to see, like, flashbacks, or just, like, while Anthony was still alive and remembers his father?
It's that. It's Anthony's memories of them when they were still, like, a unit. We're also probably going to see his death, which is really sad. But...
I don't want to see another B death. I already watched My Girl when I was, like, 7, and it fucked me up.
Yeah. There's a really funny scene because of Anthony's phobia of bees.
Oh, God.
I don't want to tell you because I need you to
I feel like I know it already because I saw a promotional image. Does he jump in a lake to get away from a bee?
No, he gets pushed in a lake by a dog. That's what that is. Him climbing out is Newton the corgi runs behind him as he's, like, taking a step back, and he falls into the lake. Anthony wants to murder Kate 99% of that season because Kate just, like... You're gonna love Kate. I think you're really gonna like Anthony's season.
We'll get there towards the end of the episode.
Yeah. Anyways, just sets up all of this. Having the thing with Colin and Marina happen just sets up Colin's season better.
It sounds like it also sets up Eloise's season well. Like, I feel like the change they made with Marina makes a lot of sense if they don't want to adapt everything from the book.
And it gives you a connection, and it sets up Eloise's season really well, because we'll just jump ahead a little bit and then we'll go back. Sir Philip rolls up.
Yes.
And it's George's, and that is the Sir Philip from Sir Philip with Love. And it makes more sense, because in the book, Marina is just a distant cousin of Eloise, so she was writing letters to Marina. You never really get what their relationship was. It's just kind of like, Eloise likes to write letters, so like...
But now they made her a distant cousin of the Featheringtons, and they added this whole scandal and...
But having Penelope and Marina be such good friends, and they end friends.
Or Penelope and... Oh, you said Penelope and Marina, not Penelope and Eloise. They're friends in the book, right?
Yeah, they're best friends in the book still, yeah. That scene that happens... So, going back into order just really quick. So, the entire family goes to the Queen's luncheon so that they can show that they're not affected by the scandal.
And everybody views Colin as the victim, which, you know what? Good. Like, it was so...
He's the victim.
I mean, he is, but, like, it so easily could have been looked at like he wasn't. It's like, oh, man, you guys got lucky.
Women are always the villains. Women are always the villains. Fair. There was no chance that situation was going to go any
But
other way.
If it was suspected that the baby was his, then wouldn't it be like, oh, my God, he compromised her? That's what I'm saying.
Yes.
It very much could have ended up with he compromised her thing, and everybody kind of knew, oh no, she was trying to trap him.
Yeah, but because Lady Whistledown wrote that she'd come to London pregnant.
Yeah.
I know, which we'll get there.
Oh, we'll get there.
So, first we get a fun little aside where Benedict learns that the woman he had threesome with is the artist's wife.
No, we learned that at the wedding reception, did we not?
We learned it.
No, he introduced himself to Benedict. We talked about this last episode. The artist comes up to him at Daphne's reception and goes, and this is my wife. And Benedict looks like he wants to kill himself.
Oh, yeah. This is when he started to put the Lord Weatherby and the artist thing together.
Yes.
Benedict's a little
and he's trying to play it so cool to the point that he won't even hang out with the artist. Like, not in a mean way. He's playing it too cool.
Uncomfortable. Yeah, he's just uncomfortable. And it's like, bye! My mother's calling me, and like is walking away as he says that.
One benefit of having close families, even when you're like in your 20s, you can be like, sorry, my mommy needs me.
Mommy needs me. And a big scandal just affected their family, so it makes sense that they want to like close ranks.
Yeah.
Lady Featherington is a bold motherfucker because she just waltzes right in with the other three girls as if nothing with Marina has happened. And also, really quick, I love that the Queen walks up to Daphne and was like, I bet $300 that you'll have a baby by the end of the year. It's like...
Also, but what Simon says is wildly... It's just wild because he goes, I can guarantee you we're participating in the endeavor. Or he says something.
He's like, we fucking a lot, which A, you aren't, and B...
Well, you were for about a minute.
What that implies is that he expects Daphne to keep up the facade that they're trying to have kids, and it's just not happening, which is super not okay and super fucked up on his part.
Yeah.
So Lady Featherington walks in, everybody goes silent, and everybody looks at her.
Everyone's like, "Oh no, it's the whore family."
It's the whores. And
it's actually they're hyphenated now. It's actually the Jefferson whores.
And so the Queen's like little Indian man goes up to them and is like, you have to leave, you no longer have an invitation. They get kicked out. Daphne gets upset and goes because everybody's congratulating her on her happy marriage, and she's like, if only you fucking knew, my man. And so she runs off and is standing in front of a statue of Athena for some fucking reason.
She needs the strength of a woman.
Violet comes in There are two scenes with Daphne and Violet across these two episodes that I love. This is the beginning of the first one where Daphne, rightly so, is mad at her mom. That, like, if Violet had been a little clearer, none of this may have gone the way it did.
If Daphne explained the logistics 100%, she would have realized...
Violet explained everything 100%, yeah.
She would have realized what Simon was doing, and she wouldn't have had to have that fight. She just would have realized a lot sooner, and they would have still had the fight, but it wouldn't be the same because... It would have been a discussion,
not a discussion after the fact.
Yes, and then he would also kind of have even less of a leg to stand on, because she wouldn't...
The fight they have later, like, though, because that man has no leg to stand on.
Well, no, it's like, I'm with you on what you said last episode, where it's like, I don't see what she did as, like, necessarily an assault thing because of just the power dynamic of a marriage and, like, what she was trying to figure out because she didn't understand everything. But if she didn't have to do that, I feel like that would make her point even stronger. I don't know if that makes sense.
Oh, I get what you mean.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I really like that scene. Daphne goes running off. Violet turns around. Lady Danbury is there. And I wrote a note that it must be exhausting to be Violet. Because you don't have your husband, who it would have been Edmund's responsibility to take care of all of this from, like, beginning to end. Yeah. And Anthony is not ready.
Well, in a situation, sorry to interrupt, in a situation where the father dies like that, is it that Anthony isn't ready emotionally yet? Or, like, hypothetically, would it be expected that maybe at the beginning it's kind of a split duty between the mother and the son?
No, it automatically goes to Anthony.
Gotcha.
And if Anthony hadn't been 18 when his father died, it would have gone to one of their uncles until Anthony turned 18. It has to be Violet because Anthony is Anthony and is a frustrating guy and isn't ready, and Daphne's married and all Violet wants is for her kids to be happy, and none of them are, and it all stems from losing their father, and there's nothing she can't make that go away. And it's heavily implied that Violet's life after losing her husband just became about her children, which is understandable. I'm not saying that that's wrong. Then her children aren't happy, and so it must be exhausting to be her. And the fact that as a woman you couldn't cry in public, you couldn't do any of that kind of stuff. It's not like now where at big parties where everybody's drinking, somewhere a girl is crying. Somewhere in the room is a crying woman.
I feel like if somebody was, like, doing, like, a bar hop, like, scavenger hunt, it's like, find a crying girl.
Find a girl crying. And if it's in a bar bathroom, there are, like, 5 other drunk girls that are like, he ain't shit, girl. Like, you are better than, like, there is no hype team like drunk girls.
It's very funny how, and again, I'm going to play up with stereotypes a little bit here, but I feel like you're going to agree to an extent. When everyone's sober, I feel like guys are so easy to connect over the dumbest shit. Like, there was an old Tumblr post once that's like a guy walked into, like, a class wearing a striped shirt and another guy was wearing stripes, and they went, stripes, and they sat next to each other.
That's weird.
Yeah. And sober girls are like, bitch, what are you trying to look at me for right now? But the second you get them drunk, it is the opposite.
So also, even sober, the second that a group of women is together and somebody is upset about a boyfriend, we have all been there. This is a shared experience, and, like, we can tell this other girl to say the shit we never got to say.
But I feel like, I don't know, I feel like don't ask me why you're gonna come across this, but, like, if you came across a girl crying about her boyfriend, like, in public during the day when no one's drunk, I don't know if you'd have the same he ain't shit attitude. You'd be like, ma'am, this is a Whole Foods.
Yeah, it's when you're drunk you have no inhibitions.
Yeah.
So I've had girls at bars, when I'm upset about something, talk shit about their boyfriend in front of their boyfriend. Because it's just like, I don't care. Like, it's just very sad because even though Violet has a relationship with Lady Danbury now, they are friends, she still, because they're in public, can't
share much.
Upset.
And then there's also the aspect of, like, my daughter's upset because of your, like,
no son.
Not son, but like essentially.
Although I feel like if Violet had been like, this is Simon's fault, Lady Danbury would have been like, yeah, it fucking is. Like, and wait till later, I'm gonna throw hands with him.
The thing about Lady Danbury and Violet is if somebody told them that Anthony/Simon did something, they're not gonna be like, my son would never. They'd be like, yeah. They'd be like, where is he? I will kick his ass and make him formally apologize. I will take this 27-year-old man by the ear, like a 5-year-old, and make him apologize to you. And that's why Violet reminds me of my mom.
And Lady Danbury finds her way that she can do it publicly, where she walks up and's like, I'm having a soiree, you're invited. Simon's like, I don't think we can go. And she's like, I didn't invite you. Like, you're not invited.
I'm kind of surprised we went 8 episodes without her smacking him with the cane.
She did it once in the carriage.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Then we cut back to Lord Featherington, to the Featherington home, where he's just hanging out in his office doing something. I don't fucking know. And Lady Featherington comes in and tells him the whole thing, and he's like, I don't care. Off. And he's just a wild guy. Like, and we'll see more of it as the episode goes on, but he's just a wild man. Who has no chill.
I will get to Lord Featherington when we get to him, because I have a lot of... I think you're going to be surprised by what I have to say.
No, I shouldn't be surprised, because they cost me like $10, but there are already 2 holes in these gloves.
Well.
Alright, turning pages of my notes with these on is difficult.
You gotta do that.
I'm not licking the glove.
It's your glove. You know where it's been.
Oh, so then Lord Featherington's like, I've got a plan. And he goes to see Will to try and convince Will to to throw his next fight.
I texted this to you, and I think this reference I'm about to make is for 4 people. Because I don't know the Venn diagram of people that have watched both Bridgerton and Daredevil, but they're trying to Jack Murdoch Will right now. Yeah.
And what's so funny is Lord Featherington starts talking shit. Will throws him into the wall, and then Lord Featherington drops everything. Like, that man cannot put his money where his mouth is.
Well, he doesn't have money.
Even his proverbial money.
Yeah. But also, like, that was a very interesting thing about Will that, like, we hadn't been told yet, was that he was a descendant of slaves in America.
I don't think he was... That's not what they meant by escaping the colonies. He was forced to fight in the Revolution. He escaped he didn't die in the Revolution.
Oh. I got the impression that his father was a slave in the colonies and made it into England. Because I know I'm not going to say that England was by any means not racist, but as far as I know, they didn't have slavery in the 1800s.
No, they didn't. But no, it was that he didn't die in the colonies during the Revolutionary War.
Gotcha.
Yeah. Love Will. It's great.
He's hot.
He's also very hot. So then, Lord Featherington leaves his card and tells Will to think about it. After offering Will basically guaranteeing that
he would pay for Will. So yeah, wait. Does Will get paid some amount of money whether or not he wins or loses?
Yes. So he would be paid. So how it goes is whatever men bet on the fighter, that's part of the pool. If you lose, you make way less. Where if you win, you get a huge cut of what everybody bet on you.
But you still get something if you lost.
Yeah, but it's just not much. And it's that you can't fight forever.
Yeah.
And even winning, he's not making enough where they can save for when he can no longer fight. So then we cut to Lady Danbury's underground of sin. I don't remember what she calls it.
I don't know, but damn.
Yeah.
Part of me was upset that Violet wasn't invited / didn't go. I don't know which it is, but
she's got young children.
Fair enough.
Daphne, I think it's that Violet needs to be home with her young children. Violet's got her hands full.
I don't know. I feel no. Here's the thing. I disagree with you. For the young children, she has a nanny. She needs to be home for Anthony. She needs to be home for, and maybe Colin right now. It's like she's
Colin. I think that's the other thing too, is that like even if she was invited, I feel like Violet would be like, "Hey, I got to be home with my despondent child."
Yeah, because it's a lot of mixed feelings that I could tell. There's a lot of very mixed feelings with the whole Colin situation, where she is both trying not to be like I told you so, because she also does feel bad that his life's been devastated, but then she's also getting into protective mode where she's like, you didn't just hurt like my son's feelings in a romantic way. You tried to do this horrible thing to him that just would have been fucked up in general, but that wouldn't have broken into a scandal, right? Mm-hmm. And now you've added the scandal, so it's like there's so much going on.
Also, just from their energies, I feel like even with a governess, she's got her hands full with Hyacinth and George. Hyacinth and George are literally constantly either wrestling or playing a game of tag.
Yeah.
Like,
or
they're
arguing.
They're screaming at each other.
But
like,
it's so funny the way they scream at each other, because they're not doing it in like a... They're not like a hate each other siblings thing. They're just like a very bickering thing. Yeah.
It's just that all their other siblings are so much older than them. Because Francesca's like 15, but then Hyacinth and George are like 9 and 10.
Do you see like the way we see kind of like a friendship between Benedict and Eloise? Do you see like friendships with them in their books, Hyacinth and Gregory?
Yeah. It's a little difficult because Gregory goes away to school. You do see out of all of them, Gregory and Hyacinth are the closest, just because at a certain point they were the only ones left in the house.
Yeah.
And they had to move. They had to leave their home once and move into a different house when Anthony got married.
Oh, Anthony takes the main one.
Well, yeah, that's the Bridgerton home. It's Anthony's by right.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, it's Anthony's by right. And so he pays for them to move into like a different house. He doesn't just like throw them out on their asses. Like, he puts them up.
I'm sure their house is just as nice.
Yeah. And if I remember correctly, in the book, he does offer, and it's like, you guys can stay in Bridgerton house until they're older. And Violet's like, no, like, it's yours. Like, we can move into a different house. Like, take your title. Be Viscount Bridgerton.
Just take
confidence, Anthony. Confidence. I love we meet the general's wife after Daphne has promised to try and contact the general to find George. She's hilarious. I love her. Yeah. She's there for 10 seconds, but I want to see more of her.
And you could tell that, like, she definitely has a marriage that a lot of other people do. They're like, yeah, we kind of did this, and we're not really a thing, but I kind of get to say I'm married, so I get... Basically, with the second you're like, oh, but I'm a married woman, you just get... A lot of things are suddenly allowed. Like, even just being alone with a dude that you have no intention of ever fucking. It's suddenly like...
It's an entire trope in romance novels that men, like... There's always a widow who causes a problem for the heroine and hero of a romance novel because this widow wants to fuck the guy. Because she's... Or not widow, a married woman wants to fuck this dude. Like, I think it's Benedict's book where he's like, this married woman just like will not leave me alone, and like I don't. Oh no, it's Hyacinth. It's Hyacinth's hero Garrett or Gareth. He's like at a ball, and this woman like says some really mean shit to Hyacinth, and Hyacinth's basically like, oh, what the fuck was that? And he's like, I don't know. She wants to have sex with me, and I want to have sex with her. Like, I don't know, dude.
What sex? And he's like, I said too much.
I've said too much. I'm sorry.
Just goes into Hagrid mode. He's like, I should not have said that.
One of his first introductions at the first like ball that they're at, where they meet, Gareth is like running away from this married woman that wants to hook up with him. That I think it's like he like had sex with her once and then just wasn't interested in doing it again, and this woman won't leave him alone. Sorry, I have a cat hair on my nose. I have to take my gloves off and grab it. Oh God. Then we cut to Anthony and Simon are in their club, and we get the first of Anthony's Sienna war flashback, that weird face he makes when he sees her in public.
I'm trying to find like the music that like goes with it. But, like, I feel like I know it if I'd heard it, but like I just don't know. Like there's something I've seen before where like that face.
It's so funny.
And then he realized it's not her, and it's like he's like, oh, thank God.
Thank God. Cut back to Daphne, who they're giving her wine, and she was like, they're drinking from Daddy's cup, and Daphne grabs the biggest wine glass she can find and sets it down. It's like
she learned from her mother when she's stressed at a party, just grab the tall champagne glasses.
She's not double fisting like her mother, but
no, she'll get there in due time.
That's what they mean by use what your mama gave you. Then we come back to Simon and Anthony, where Anthony has decided he's just going to oh, sorry, I wrote I need the big cup, not about Daphne. About Anthony, after he thinks he sees Sienna, he grabs a waiter and goes, I need a large glass.
Yeah. And it's also so...
He's
has the worst small talk where he's like...
Oh, no, I took that as that he was like, I'm going to annoy you until you tell me what's going on.
Oh, with the beer thing?
Yeah, when he's just talking to him about the beer, I took that as, you're clearly hiding something from me. I'm mad because it's affecting my family and hurting my sister. And, like, I'm sure I relate to this with Caitlin, and I'm sure you relate to this with your sisters, where it's like, I'm on my sister's side automatically here because, like, it's my sister.
Unless you're going to tell me what they did, and then maybe I could take your side.
Yeah, and so he's just basically like, I'm just going to talk about beer until you can't take it anymore.
Just like the world's first hipster was Anthony Bridgerton going, there's something about an ale.
It's so funny because it's the most he sounds obnoxious, and it's like I wrote
he sounds obnoxious, but he also sounds like he knows he sounds obnoxious.
Oh, yeah, exactly. I literally wrote that watching this scene is such a treat because watching the actor who plays Anthony and the actor who plays Simon go back and forth is awesome. It's just because, like, you can tell that Anthony knows he's being annoying and he's doing it on purpose, and then Simon finally breaks, and Anthony's like, I know it has to be you who fucked up because I don't think it's physically possible for Daphne to fuck up this bad because, like, I know her.
Yeah.
Simon decides to tempt fate by being like, your father's in heaven and he's ashamed of you, which, like, oh. Anthony, like I said, Anthony's not, the smartest man on the planet this season, but, like, I don't think his father's up in heaven ashamed of him. Like, no. Fuck, dude.
He's also got handed a few curveballs the past few weeks, let's be honest.
Yeah, it's been a rough couple of weeks for Anthony. Like, so Simon's just tempting fate. Anthony finally loses it and hits him.
We won. We get into this, like, Zack Snyder cinematography for, like, a half second where, like, the back slows down and they're, like, it's not, like, 3D, but it's almost like they're more forward.
The depth of the background is greater.
Exactly. And then he just lunges at him.
The noise I made when they hit the table. I literally was like, because I forgot this entire scene happened.
That's the thing is, they never acknowledge it again. Daphne is none the wiser that her brother almost cut her husband's eye out. And then they don't necessarily, they're not buddy, you don't see them get to be buddy-buddy, but I'm going to assume they're cool with each other now. And, like, I definitely have been in situations where I just want to punch a friend once or twice for a couple minutes and then be like, yeah, we're cool.
We're good.
Yeah.
Just them hitting the table and the table breaking. Like, imagine just being another dude who you're just there with your buddies, you're playing cards and drinking, and all of a sudden these fucking guys, it's like, what the shit is happening over there?
Yeah. Or, like,
it's like when we're at Mahoney's and a fight breaks out and we're like,
yeah,
we are having very different nights than these people.
This is going to be a dumb question. In the, what are they called? Clubhouses? Lounges?
Clubs. Gentlemen's clubs.
Because it was, like, part of the, like, political thing of, like, oh, everybody from Parliament here is on the same political side. Was everything in there free?
No. You pay dues to, like, the club.
Yes, but what I mean is, in the moment, is everything in there free?
I don't know. They don't ever really talk about it.
Just because part of me is like, what if you, like, look down and suddenly it's like, my drink was on that table, damn it.
Yeah, I'm not 100% sure.
Yeah.
To be honest with you. just not something that's mentioned. Like, how people pay for things isn't something that's mentioned.
No, because they're all rich.
Yeah. So then we cut back to Hastings' house. Simon is tending to his eye, lies to Daphne, says that it was he went a little too hard with Will. They get into my favorite argument that they have in this entire show, because it is I say this all the time, that like a lot of the time when I'm fighting with boyfriends. Right.
No. I know what you're about to say, because like you've said this to me before. But like, go ahead.
Where I'm like, please repeat back to me. Say what you just said and repeat it back to me.
Honestly, you probably used that on me before.
I use it on every man I ever interact with, because I don't mean to be general, but all of you at some point say something where I'm like, do you really not hear how unintelligent that sounds? Or how ridiculous, not even unintelligent, how fucking ridiculous you sound?
Here's the thing. I'll defend my species for 1 second, because for the most part I agree with you. Yes, species. It's almost like you take the plan or the idea, but you reword, like you use enough synonyms to make it sound worse than it is, and we're like, fuck, like you're not wrong. But that's not what I said.
Because you are wrong, but it is. And like, that's what's so unfair. You are wrong. You just are trying to frame it a different way to make yourself feel good. Like, fuck. And because like, this is the whole thing. Is Simon proliferates all over about like, I had a shitty dad. Like, fuck. And he expects Daphne to be like, oh, you poor baby, I totally understand. Like, we don't have to have children. It's totally fine. I'm so sorry. If I'm not pregnant, like, we will never do that again. Like, da da da. And Daphne's like, that is the stupidest shit I have ever heard.
I feel like Daphne's even more pissed off, because part of her would, I feel like, if Simon just went, I don't want to have kids, like, if he had if the reason he didn't want to have kids was not, oh, I swore this to a guy who's been dead, I don't know, 10 years.
No, it's like, it's not super long. It's been like 3 or 4 years since his father passed.
But still, he's like, oh, I made this promise to some guy I hated who's now dead. If it was just like some personal conviction or belief he had, I feel like she would even be like, at least I can respect that stance.
There's a conversation that can happen there.
Yeah.
About like your concerns or whatever. But, and like she says it where it's like,
you hate him more than you love me.
You hate him more than you love me. And that's been there, where it's somebody, a guy's feeling for something else, like, outweighs how he feels about me. And it's like, there is no way to fix that. Like, you just rung a bell that cannot be unrung. The only way you can unring this is by deciding that you love me more. Which we'll get into, but like, fuck. And I just love where she's like, say it back to me. Like, say it right now. And I'm like, yeah, repeat that back to me. Repeat back to me. I am so mad at my deceased father. I am so angry at my deceased father that even though I want to have a happy marriage and I love you and I would consider having children and being a part of your family, I hate him more. So I'm going to be miserable until I die.
And like, if he was still alive, you could at least be like, can we just wait till he dies so he doesn't get the satisfaction?
Yeah.
Like, even then, yeah, there's a conversation that could be had.
Fuck. Like, what? Like, what? Idiots, everyone, all of you idiots.
To quote Robin Williams, we were given a brain and a penis, but only enough blood to work one at a time.
So then we cut to the queen, who is reading Lady Whistledown, who has nothing to say about her luncheon. She's all upset about it.
She's like, how dare this bitch?
How dare you? How dare you not even say that it was dull? Like, and the queen's right. It looks worse to not say anything than to even say like it was bad. Okay, I have to take this glove off so that I can turn the pages. Then we get Marina, who's slowly going crazy. Marina is just slowly losing her mind. Which, again, sets up Eloise's season really well, but, like, fuck. Because Philip has rolled on up, and is offering to marry her.
I don't think we're there yet.
Are we not?
Because Marina does something else before Philip shows up.
No, Philip has shown up by the time she does that.
No. Because
he hasn't offered to marry her, but he's shown up. He's been like, hey, George is dead. He shows up very early in episode 7.
Huh. I like when they walk back into the parlor and they're like, oh, you're still here.
Yeah, hi. I also like when Lady Featherington walks in to meet Philip and she was like, oh, George, and like just goes for a second and Philip's fine like, I'm not.
And Marina's like, this is not the Lord Philip you think it is.
It's not who you think it is, my girl. Like, we also, so we have Marina just slowly going crazy. George is dead. She's distraught. Understandably, you're distraught, like whatever. Says the whole thing to Penny about how he always loved her and that's worse. And makes a decision that we'll discuss in a second.
Well, she almost... Marina's going through a lot, and I feel for it. Because I think she was... You could tell in her voice that she was happy to get the closure, at least, on 2 things. On one, the answer, like, finding out that a loved one died is horrible, but not knowing is so much worse. You would rather that hope just be answered and you could begin mourning.
Yeah.
But not only does she have the answers as to whether or not she's alive, she does also know that he did love her. He wasn't just going to run away after knocking her up.
Yeah.
And so... I was going to wait for you to segue because I think we're about to talk about the same part.
I'm going to segue to Colin and Anthony.
Oh, okay. Yeah, we can start there.
Yeah, Colin and Anthony have their fun little conversation where
Colin had the same exact reaction I did when Anthony said the words, I apologize or I'm sorry. He's like, are there locusts in the street?
No, he's like, are you
okay?
And then I like when Anthony's basically like, this is how you get through it. Like in you just keep going with what you're expected to do, and in 6 months you won't even know you're in love with her anymore. And Colin's like, how's that working for you? How's that working for you, my man?
Yeah.
Which I just enjoy. So we also have the scene where Benedict thinks that Eloise is against him fucking the modiste because she's a modiste, and Eloise is like, at the point, you dumb fuck.
Did we already get to the part where like they're at the opera?
No, that we're about to get there.
Yeah, but Eloise doesn't know yet.
In the living room, she's already spoken to the queen at the luncheon. And the queen has told her about the boat. She's sending the cops after Lady Whistledown. That was at the luncheon.
No, that was at the ball.
No, it's not. It's at the luncheon. At the ball, at the opera, she tries to stop her. Wait.
No.
Either way,
at the ball, she gives the queen an update. All right, sorry, at the luncheon, she gives the queen an update, and the queen goes, you know what? Don't worry about it. I've kind of started a task force. At the opera, she figures it's not worth it and goes with Anthony or Benedict for some reason.
Benedict to warn Lady Whistledown. To like learn more, not to warn Lady Whistledown, to try and like learn more about Lady Whistledown.
Yeah. And then at Daphne's ball.
Oh, I know what it is. They talk at the luncheon. Hang on. They talk at the luncheon. And the queen is like, I don't need your services anymore. I don't give a shit about what you found. I've made this task force. At the opera, she goes to talk to the queen, and that's when the queen reveals that they're sending cops after her, like, soon. And that they're going to shut her down. Because Eloise at the luncheon still thinks that the queen just, like, wants to know who it is. Yeah. She doesn't realize that that's when she finds out from the queen that they're the plan is to shut her down and, like, have her arrested. That's what it is. And that's why she wants to leave, because now she has to figure out, like, if it is really the modiste, so that she can save Lady Whistledown from being ruined. Because that's why she gets so awkward in the carriage.
Oh, not because it's like a dude that her brother's fucking?
No, it's that she's sitting there, and she thinks that this woman is Lady Whistledown. Benedict doesn't know that, and so she thinks they both know that she's Lady Whistledown.
No,
it's just, like, awkward.
In Eloise's mind, she thinks that they're awkward because she knows and the modiste knows she knows. And the modiste is just awkward because, like, why is the girl who's not supposed to know what sex is sitting here with the man I'm fucking?
Why did you bring her? Like, Genevieve has the same reaction that you did, which is, why did you not wait until you dropped her off and then came and got me.
Because Benedict right now is trying to feel like, you know what, I'm going to be myself in front of my family, in front of the one person.
Benedict just learned what gay is. That's the other thing, is Benedict just learned from the artist what being gay is. Which is so funny. Oh, and he's like, do all the women that's going on.
Is that what he learned at the, he learned that at the opera?
Yeah, he learns at that's when he has that whole conversation with the guy, because with the artist, and he's like, and the artist is like, I could die for being in love with Lord Weatherby. Me and my wife have an understanding, like, it doesn't fucking matter. Like, you can stand here and be like, you're being untrue and like all that kind of stuff, but like, you can't put your money where your mouth is. You're embarrassed to be yourself. I'm just being found a way to be myself and be happy.
Yeah. But still, Benedict, I don't know.
Because I just like when Benedict's like, are you in love with him? And the artist's like, yeah. And I was like,
oh. I mean, technically the answer could have been no. He's like, nah, that guy just lays great pipe.
When we see it, the artist is laying pipe.
Well, either way. Because what did I'm trying to figure out the exact word I texted you. Not about Benedict learning about gay people.
Yeah, and I took a screenshot of it. Now, 1 second. I'll pull it up. Oh no, I took a screenshot of something else. You said something.
I said, okay, is Benedict on crack? And you went, is this the scene where he learns what being gay is, or the carriage scene? And I said, carriage. And you went, yeah, I don't know what that plan was. And I was like, why are you introducing your side piece to your sister? Your unmarried sister. The unmarried one who doesn't know what sex is. Because I'll say this right now. If my sister ran and met my side piece by accident, I'm killing them and then myself. Like,
yeah, just no. Also, can we talk real quick that Eloise in her gown with her like hair up and all that kind of stuff, she looks stunning. She looks great. Beautiful. She looks lovely. We also get in that conversation with the artist and Benedict, we get a really interesting foreshadow for his book, because the main conflict for a while is that the woman he's in love with, that he falls in love with, Sophie, she's the bastard daughter of a lord. And so it's not... So and when he meets her, she's working as like a maid. And so it's like all sorts of shit that Benedict is not supposed to be doing.
Gotcha.
And he ends up marrying her, and they have a whole thing to prepare because he's marrying a bastard. And I like that they set this up for him to like deal with that beforehand.
Yeah.
Sweet boy. I'm so excited for that season. I'm gonna cry. I'm gonna cry so much. I love Sophie. There's a really hot scene in a bathtub in that book, and I hope that's in the series.
Who's in the bathtub? Anyways,
Benedict and Sophie.
Okay, both of them. Okay.
Yes. It involves Benedict cleaning Sophie for something happens to Sophie, and she ends up basically covered in mud. And Benedict just kind of drops her in a bathtub, and it's cute. It's hot. Then we get so then we're at the carriage scene. They leave. All of a sudden, without saying anything, Benedict just bangs on the roof and says to the footman, "I'd like to stop to pick up my friend." Footman goes to get him, and I love this scene just because I love Eloise being like, a friend? Am I not allowed to have a friend? And then he turns and just like serene for a second, and then he's like, please do not tell mother.
Yeah. The other thing is,
which I don't know if you remember.
I was gonna say, when the modiste said the line about like, I wouldn't want to cross her, I paused and I called you and was like, hey, I want this on the record in case I'm right. I think she's whistled down. And then the second they were like, oh, we're investigating, I was like, she's not fucking whistled down. Because I knew it was going to come out of left field, so I thought I noticed a piece of foreshadowing, but the second it became like a C plot, I was like, no, it's not her.
The point is that, Eloise, you were doing what the show wanted you to do.
Yes, and the thing is, I feel like the show did have two very good...
She is a red herring. It is a misdirection.
No, but I feel like they took the most obvious trains of thought and eliminated them quickly. Well, I guess this one's not quickly because it's the second to last episode, but the idea that it could be a servant because the servants kind of hear everything. And I feel like they kind of, after what they do to get Ratman out of there, I feel like the writers went, oh yeah, we kind of have to also eliminate the idea that Whistledown could be a servant because we have proof that the servants do hear everything. But then the tradesperson thing did make a lot of sense.
Yeah. I just really like, I don't know if you remember when I first watched the show, I called you about the please do not tell mother scene because that is absolutely something you would do.
No, I wouldn't because I wouldn't put myself
like if your sister accidentally like found out or anything like that, you would also be like, please do not tell mother.
Yes.
So then we're now at the opera. Oh, we're back at the opera with the Bridgertons who didn't leave. Anthony is in their box with his mother.
Looking relaxed for the first time in 7 episodes.
Tom, he's just chilling. Like, at that point, he's just vibing. And then he looks down and sees Sienna and has a war flashback again. It's number 3.
You know what? I'll make a reference right now, but jump like 10 seconds if you haven't seen Spider-Man No Way Home yet. I'll give you 5, 4, 3, 2. Jump 10 seconds now. Okay, it's like when Toby's mask is off and he hears the Green Goblin coming and he's like, slowly turns his head because for him, it's been like 20 fucking years since he heard that. Yeah.
Yeah, so he has that war flashback. Sienna feels him looking at her while all this is going. So Violet has no idea what her son's doing.
Which is weird because normally, like, Simon and Violet have both said that opera singer you think none of us know about.
Everybody has said, Colin says it to him at one point. Like, dude is not subtle. But Violet's distracted because on the other side of the theater, her daughter, who something is going on with her husband, just looks at, and I love this scene because she looks at Simon, and Simon looks at her because she feels I don't know how to explain what it feels like when you start to get your period, but it's like a feeling that as a woman you know. I don't know how to explain what it feels like other than it feels like getting your period, which I know is not helpful, but
I can imagine.
So she looks at Simon, and Simon looks at her, and he's like, and she's just staring at him, and he's like,
"Are you okay?
Like, what? Like, what do you need?" Violet's watching that go down, and then Daphne jumps up and runs out.
So here's my question. I don't know how to ask this. And keep in mind, I'm asking for
She did not miscarry.
No, I know that. I'm asking for the context of the time period, not because I'm too dumb. What were pads and tampons and stuff invented yet at this point? So when you were on your period, what did you just do? Like wear extra underwear?
Actually wore underwear.
Just like extra?
No, you wore underwear. Women did not wear underwear.
Oh, hot.
Yeah, they wore...
But I'm assuming their underwear was quite thick then.
Not really. It doesn't... You're wearing so many layers, it doesn't really matter. You have to remember, like, a woman is wearing those weird...
I guess that was my question, because to me, it looks like Daphne's not wearing that many layers. Part of me is like, if you think it's supposed to come soon, if it comes unexpectedly, do you end up bleeding through? It's like, no, I guess they're wearing enough layers. I just don't...
8,000 layers.
Yeah.
And that's why she's able to... She doesn't pull anything down. That's why she's able to just stick her hand with that napkin under her skirt and see that she's bleeding.
Yeah.
The scene where she's crying in her mother's arms does break my heart, though. Where Violet comes in, sees what's happening, very quickly puts pieces together in a way only mothers can, and just the way, like, Daphne's just sobbing in her mother's arms, and like, fuck Simon. And we cut back to, so while all this has been going on at the Featherington home, Marina's making herself some tea.
Actually, I called it a bye-bye smoothie.
Brent called it a bye-bye smoothie, and he went, is she making a bye-bye smoothie? And I went, it depends on who you think she's trying to say bye-bye to.
And that's when I realized, oh, you know what, you're right, because my initial instinct was that it was her. But then I was like, it could be just for the baby. Because you already told me she kills herself.
Not yet. She drowned.
They changed shit for the book.
By walking into a lake.
Yeah. But, like... That's why I was trying so hard to read the labels on whatever fucking herbs and spices she was putting in the water.
Probably like St. John's wort. There are a lot of herbs that it's very dangerous for pregnant women to take because they can cause miscarriages. That is a very real thing.
Yeah.
Like women are not, like, one of the first things you're told when you're pregnant is like, if you're taking any supplement that has St. John's wort in it, you have to stop taking it.
But see, I was also, remember, well, I watched a good chunk of the scene expecting that she was trying to off herself. So I'm like, what is this concoction of herbs? Like, is she drinking dirt and just hoping that that'll kill her?
No.
Yeah. It makes a lot more sense that she was trying to induce a miscarriage.
So Penny is home. They weren't allowed to go to the opera, so Penny is, just coming to say hey to Marina. Talk to her. Opens the door. Marina's just Wicked Witch of the East in it. You just see her feet. And I just love her the scream she makes. If I was Lady Featherington, my skirts would be up here because that sounds like somebody's bleeding out. And then she's like, "Mama, make haste!" And it's such a funny line.
Because realistically, you would just yell, "Mom, hurry up!" or "Mom, come here." But the way they talked, like it sounds like to us, we're like, "Hey."
One of those things that makes you go, "Oh, I'm watching a period piece."
Because to us, my first thing is almost to be like, this is the time not for formalities. But then I'm like, to them, that wasn't a formality. That was just language. It wasn't a formality,
just how they spoke. So then we go into episode 8, Jesus fucking Christ, called After the Rain, the final episode, and it begins with Violet waking up in bed. We learned that she did used to sleep in the same bed as Edmund, and she still can only sleep on one side. Can't sleep on his side. It's very sad. Then we see Daphne and Simon posing for their portrait, and damn, Simon, could you be standing further away from her? Speaking of people wanting to unalive themselves, that artist, I think, was debating like what he had that he could use to just not be there anymore.
I mean, I feel like, before kids painted as like a kindergarten activity, there's no way that paint was non-toxic.
Yeah, that probably had lead in it.
Yeah. Choose the color that looks the yummiest and just chug, boy.
Yeah.
And he also has to act like he's not hearing this argument they're having. And he's like, "Yeah, you guys look lovely."
All right.
But then he realizes the second he gets Simon to touch her shoulder, he's like, "Oh, damn."
Yeah, he's like, "You two do love each other." And they're like, "No, we don't." But
he's like, "Oh, you're so cute."
We also get a little bit of foreshadowing for season 2 here when we cut back to the Bridgerton household, and Hyacinth's asking Anthony if she can take part in the summer festivities at Aubrey Hall.
So I have questions about that, about season 2. Does season 2 take place during the next season of people being out?
No.
But it takes place during the summer.
Yes.
What?
So season ended.
I thought the season, not. Fuck, I hate that we have to use the word season in 2 different ways right now. I thought that the season where women would be out was the summer.
No, so the season where, that all this has been happening, that was from January to either June or July. It was just while Parliament was in session. Because by the end of July, you needed to be going home to your tenants to start getting ready for the fall harvest. And making sure that everything was set up for winter and your tenants not starving.
Okay, that makes a lot more sense. So, assuming based on the weather they were having, this wasn't... Are you good?
A bug just flew into my face.
I'm assuming this was closer to the June and July half of the season.
Yeah.
Oh, I guess it ends in July because we saw the end of the season at the end of the season.
Yeah. And so, but...
Hyacinth is referring to what, like August?
Yeah, so they go back to Aubrey Hall, which is the Bridgerton ancestral seat. That's where all their tenants, like how we were at Cliveden with Daphne and Simon.
That's where they would live for the other half of the year.
Yes. And if they were a more traditional family, Hyacinth and Gregory never would have come to London. They would have stayed at Aubrey Hall with their governess.
Oh, really?
But because Violet likes to have all of her kids around. Yes, so...
How uncommon was that?
Incredibly uncommon.
Really?
It was incredibly uncommon. Yeah, you usually just came in with your kids that were out. Like, even Eloise or Francesca being there is a little weird. But Eloise, it makes sense because she's coming out the next season, so she can start to go to events at the end of the season.
Gotcha.
As like a precursor.
But like it was uncommon, but it wasn't like, I guess it wasn't looked down on because nobody looks at Violet Bridgerton.
Oh, no, it is looked down on. It's just the Bridgertons are such a powerful family, and everybody loved Edmund so much, and Violet is so nice that nobody's going to say anything.
Gotcha.
There are also just so many of them that like it's like one of those things where because all of the girls are so pretty, the guys are so attractive, and there are so many of them, fucking with the Bridgertons is a bad idea because your chances of fucking yourself over with another family that they end up allied with through marriage is very high. But yeah, season 2 is basically going to pick up.
But it's not the follow
within a month or two of.
But you said Daphne has her kids already.
Is one of her children already. No, maybe she is pregnant in that book.
Well, I know
she's pregnant.
I know we saw her giving birth at the end of the episode, but obviously
that's the epilogue in the book.
And obviously that's a flash forward, but is this Summer Games, you know, the Disney Summer Games,
so what it is
literally supposed to be like 2 weeks after we just saw? So then she would be pregnant, or maybe she's still trying to get pregnant because we don't know how much of a flash forward that was, right?
I could tell you if... Hang on, give me 30 seconds, I can tell you. Julia Quinn... I gotta take off my gloves to do this with any speed, though.
Yeah.
God, being a woman is hard.
Just faint if you feel that bad about it.
Oh, God. Julia Quinn. On her website, she has, like, a whole...
timeline.
Family tree.
And I'm assuming Netflix is following that timeline.
Hmm. Where is it? Give me the family tree, please.
Well, while you're looking, I'll ask this. In Anthony's book, is Hyacinth... Is this her first Summer Games, or is it a thing where they're like, oh, she's been participating for 1 or 2 years now?
To be 1,010% honest with you, I don't remember Hyacinth being there.
No.
Hyacinth and Gregory are there somewhere, but you don't really see them. Hang on one second. I'm about to look real unladylike while I do this. But I need to get more comfortable in my chair.
So then what was the point of them adding the line of going out of their way to have Hyacinth ask if she can join in
Set up season 2.
Yeah, but couldn't you have just had anything else where it's like, hey, Anthony, we're doing those Summer Games still, right? Like, her specifically having this character ask to be participating in them sounds bigger than it is.
Because I think what it is that in the book, in The Viscount Who Loved Me, there is a moment where they play, it's either pronounced Pale Mail or Paul Mail. I'm not sure which one. I've only ever read it. And in the book, the people playing, it's a big thing between Kate and Anthony, but the other people playing are Colin, Benedict, Daphne, Simon, Edwina, Kat, and Anthony. I think because Simon's not going to be in the next season, just because he didn't want to get in the way of Frasier and Paul's career, and he doesn't really need to be there. They're going to have it be, they're going to show, because like the whole thing that's implied is that the Bridgertons get really, really competitive playing Pale Mail. So I think what it's going to be is you're going to see all the siblings that are like not doing something else there. Yeah.
Gotcha.
Or they're playing with the time frame a little bit and having that this isn't June, July, and that the season's shorter. I don't really know. Here's the timeline. I got it, though. They get married in... Daphne and Simon, in the books, have their first kid... Amelia, the first one?
Oh, yeah, because Simon was like, we have to make sure it starts with an A. We're going to keep up that family tradition.
Yeah, they have their first child in 1814. So it's like shortly after they get married. And so maybe it is the next, Anthony's season is the next year. I don't know how they're going to do it in the show, but... I'm
sure they'll have some line of like, oh, remember when Daphne was married but a year ago?
Yeah.
Yeah. Have they shown that her kid is going to be in it?
The girl who plays Daphne said that you will see the baby.
Gotcha.
Oh, there may be like a year jump. What year does the Viscount Who Loved Me take place?
Man, I'm sure we were going to see more Simon in season 2.
That's not an answer to my question. Not you. You're fine. Okay, it is a year later.
Gotcha. So it's like Hyacinth's second year of participating in them.
Yes, it will. When we see the season, so yeah, it's a year later. So we will see Daphne's kid, because Daphne's kid was born some point before this summer event in 1814 rather than 1813. Anywho, then we cut back to the Featheringtons, where Penelope is checking on Marina, who's like packing to leave. And she's like, I'm not pregnant anymore. That tea did what it was supposed to do. And Penelope's like, how do you know? And she's like, I haven't felt it kick. And that's such a bad pregnancy test.
I mean, to be fair, what else could they do back then? I mean,
still, I'm just saying, don't assume.
I would say, like, maybe give it 4 days to see if it kicks. I think it's a test that needs to take place over the course of a week. If it hasn't kicked in 1 day, it might just be tired. If it hasn't kicked in a week, then it's dead.
Yeah. And that whole fucking thing goes down. Then some stuff between Simon and Daphne happens, but it's not that important. It's just Simon being an asshole.
Which part is this?
It's when Simon's like, talking about their plans to like separate when the season ends.
And obviously they don't mean like separate in the sense of like we're not divorced but we're separated. They mean like we'll find ways to just not be around each other.
He says that it's when he says to her like I wish I could be the man you deserve, like
dude, you can be, just don't be a doofus.
Yeah. It's like, you need somebody that isn't me. And it's like, it's too late for that. And also stop assuming that. So then we cut to Will's fight. And Lord Featherington and all his, like...
He goes up to these 2 Peaky Blinders looking motherfuckers.
Yeah, good reference. I'm proud of you.
Thank you. Never seen the show. I've just seen pieces, like, I've seen pictures and I know the show.
Goes up to these 2 sketchy guys, is like, yo, I want to bet a bunch of money that the Beast is going to win. It's going to be an underdog thing. Like, fuck.
And they're like, okay, you're rich. We know you gamble. And he's the, what do they call him?
Underdog.
The underdog. We know what you're doing.
Will favored to win.
Yeah.
That's what they say.
And they're like, so like, we know what you're doing.
You don't need my word. Here's the deed to my house. Like, what did you say? You were like, he's gonna be broke and homeless?
It's like, right now he's just in a lot of debt, which is bad. But the solution isn't being in debt and homeless.
For real. I forgot he gives up the deed. And we get Anthony War flashback number 4, because Sienna walks in with that very weird, hello!
Yeah, that really tall dude, weird facial hair.
Weird hair. His hair stands very high up.
Yeah. It's like silver.
So that fight's happening. We cut back to the Featherington household, where Lord Philip has come back to propose to Marina. Lady Featherington's like, bitch, say yes. This is everything we've dreamed of, you dumb fuck. And Marina is an asshole and goes, no, I don't love you, so no. And it's like, what's wrong with you? Why are you so unintelligent?
Speaking of which, we didn't mention it. I really like how Daphne, like, she's definitely mad at what Marina did to her brother, but also sympathizes with her because she, like, and I think we said it in the episode where Feathering takes them down to, like, the scary part of town, where it's like she's going about it in a horrible way, but the points she's making aren't necessarily wrong.
Not wrong.
And so Daphne gets why she felt like I had to do this, because it was either I have to lie to a man, or I have to just ruin my family. And so, nobody gets mad if you lie to an old man who's a scumbag.
And then Marina goes, It doesn't matter, I'm not pregnant, because she's a dumb bitch and thinks the fact that she hasn't felt the baby kick in like a day is a sign that she's not pregnant. We cut back to the fight, where we get my favorite line from Lord Featherington, which is where Will has the beast up against the ropes, and Lord Featherington is scared he's gonna lose, and he's like, "Come on, hit him! Beast, hit him!" It's like, he knows to hit him. Like, you don't have to yell, hit him.
Literally, that's half of boxing. You hit him.
Thing.
The other half is don't get hit by him. I'm not trying to simplify boxing here, but like, dude.
Like, if I was the beast, I would like turn and be like, "I know, I'm trying."
Oh, thanks, man. I was gonna kiss him. There.
Yeah, I didn't realize. I was like, "Yo, dude, why are you attacking me? We can be friends." Like, thanks for reminding me. Like, fuck.
Imagine she's like going off on this sarcastic monologue, and Will just sticks.
So then Will makes eye contact with Featherington and decides that he is going to throw the match so that they can get money, and he just puts his hands down and lets the dude beat the shit out of him.
Yeah, this was the worst part, is that Will never confirmed to Featherington whether or not he'd throw the fight. At least get the guy to 100% agree to it before you hand over the deed to your house.
Will didn't hand over the deed, Featherington. Oh, yeah, no, I know.
That's what I'm saying, is get the guy to agree. Or, at the very least, walk up to him as a last-ditch effort, be like, this is what I just bet. You make your decision from here, but you have a chance to really, really fuck me over. I mean, technically, maybe that only encourages him not to throw it even more.
Yeah, then we get Anthony's war flashback number 5, where he's just aggressively staring at Sienna, and then they fuck under the bleachers.
Good for them. She also starts staring back at him. Also, while they were under the bleachers, like the way it looked, because it was like all wooden and you had like the kind of like drapes, it reminded me of like in the second Harry Potter where they go under the Quidditch pitch during the game.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, they fucking under the... Because you were like, oh, it gets worse. I really thought that, like, something was going to get ripped and everyone was just going to see it.
His dick is just...
He's like, I can explain.
I was helping her up. Your penis?
Yeah, it's a very good booster of morale.
No, that's a joke from Law & Order SVU, where I don't remember what the rapist says to Olivia, but he's like, I was helping her up or something like that. And Olivia goes, with your penis? Like, it's my favorite line. So then Simon gets really judgmental that Will threw the fight for some reason. And he's like, you could have come to me. And Will's like, stop worrying about my marriage and what my wife's going to think, and worry about your marriage.
Because, like, as a boxer, how much does it hurt his career that he lost in one match?
It's not that big a deal. Like, at the end of the day, it's not that. It's just a big deal to him, and like his honor.
About his honor, but like what he said wasn't wrong. But like, he is doing something honorable because he's worrying about the shit that actually matters first. Like, your family's well-being and their ability to eat and live is a little bit more honorable than I've never once cheated in boxing. Plus, listen, hear me out. Cheating to win is like a very dishonorable thing. I feel like cheating to lose...
This isn't even cheating, it's just...
losing. Yeah.
Just giving up. Anyways. So then we are back at the Bridgertons. Simon and Daphne are coming in. Hyacinth doesn't even let him in the fucking door before she's like, when can I come visit?
Oh yeah, because Francesca's back. We finally get our first look at Francesca.
Yeah. Well, we've seen her before, just it was a while ago and you probably forgot what she looked like.
When the fuck did we see her?
The very first episode, she has lines. Like, she speaks and then she
I thought from the first episode she was at her aunt's.
No. She's in the very first episode, like, when Hyacinth and Eloise, there was a third girl there when they're like, Daphne's taking forever. There was a third girl with them.
Listen, it was like the first 5 minutes, I was trying to get everybody's name and figure out what was happening. But yes, this rings a bell.
And then the last time we saw her before she went off to her aunt's is when Nigel comes over. It's like, and Violet, like, hurries everybody out, and Eloise is trying to stay with
Eloise is like, I'm going to stay with my sister.
The last time we see Francesca.
Gotcha. Okay. I did not remember any of that. So I was like, oh, we finally get to see Francesca.
Oh, I did the same thing too, where I was like, oh, we finally get to see Francesca. And then I was like, oh, rewatching, I was like, oh, she is there from the beginning.
Francesca's an Easter egg you don't notice till your second watching. Is she in the second
Violet,
season?
yes, there are a lot of photos of her in the second
Good. I'm excited to get a new Bridgerton in.
I think that's also part of the reason that they're taking Daphne out of it, and it's why I don't think Hyacinth and George will be in much of the second season, because I think they're going to charge ahead with introducing Benedict, with introducing or getting to know Benedict more, us getting to know Colin and Penelope more, us getting to know Eloise and Franny more. I
was gonna say, remind me of the order again. It's obviously Daphne, Anthony,
Benedict, Colin.
Okay, so then you would get all the 3 boys, and then it goes Eloise, Francesca. Gotcha.
Hyacinth, Gregory. It's Daphne, 3 boys, 3 girls, Gregory.
That's easy to remember.
Yeah. And so I think they want us, because if they follow what the books does, you don't really have a relationship with Francesca by the time you get to her book, and she's a great character, so it builds very quickly, but I think they're going to try and set it up where, like, you care about her more.
Yeah. Give her at least something.
Yeah, and we'll probably get something similar to what we got with Eloise, where in, like, the last few episodes of the season, she will probably be at the ball and have let her hems down and all that stuff, prepping for her to come out. Anywho. And then, Benedict and Eloise are talking about Genevieve again.
Anthony comes over, catches them in the middle of a conversation, and Benedict thinks for what feels like maybe 30 seconds, where he's like, I can't say it was nothing, but I can't think of a lie. And then I feel like it gets to the point where it's like Ross from Friends going, say something.
Yeah.
Say anything. And so he spits it out and is like...
Eloise is sitting there, like, waiting for Anthony to pop.
And the other thing is, like, I feel like the other reason why they were so surprised at Anthony's reaction is because Anthony would be like, why does Eloise know about this? Because truly, I don't think Anthony would actually care if Benedict has a mistress. That was almost expected.
It's that it's such a public thing. Like, he could so easily be caught at her house.
Because it's the
because it's the modiste they all use.
I almost said the mystique, and I was like, nope, that's not the word. Yes, next season, she will be played by Jennifer Lawrence.
Yeah, so with the second season, I think they're going to use it for us to, like, get to know Francesca the way we got to know Eloise in season 1.
Oh, you think she'll even be featured that much?
Possibly. Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah. And then Hyacinth asks for a pony, and Simon goes, of course, or asks for a horse, and Simon goes, what about a pony? And you just hear Violet in the background go, no! But I was like, Simon, stop promising her things.
But it's so sweet, just the way Daphne looks at him, realizing that, like, how natural he is with kids and family. And then I think I don't think we talked about it, but we've already gotten to the part where she, like, digs through his dad's letters and Danbury walks in.
Yeah. And they talk about teeny shiny Simon.
Yeah.
Sweet boy.
Which is sad. But it's like, dude.
No.
It's sad. Get over it, though.
Lady Danbury is so proud of him, though.
Yeah, because she's like, I didn't do it. I just helped him get there.
Helped him find what he had all along.
Yeah.
Love her. I love her so much. Then we cut back to the Featheringtons. They're all excited because they have money now. They get these new dresses. Ollie and the other one.
The two ones that kind of look like Walmart Kirsten Shaw.
Yeah. Are, like, all excited about their dresses, and Penelope goes, and mine is yellow.
Yeah, because she's always in yellow.
Yeah.
Is there a reason for that? Like, symbolically, whether through the text?
Just in the books, Lady Featherington thinks that her daughters need to be dressed in happy colors because happy colors will make people want to marry them, and takes no notice that her daughters are all redheads, and so, like, bright colors like orange and pink and yellow don't necessarily look good on their complexion and with their hair. Like, in the book, there's a scene where in Lady Whistledown, she's like, Lady Whistledown says that Lady Featherington always insists on dressing her daughters like citrus fruit, and that all 3 girls are beautiful and they would look better if their mother would just dress them in, like, shades of green or blue.
That's funny.
Which is, like, kind of everybody's opinion. Is that, like, they're very pretty girls. Their mom just dresses them in these obnoxious outfits.
I never mean to say anything bad. And at the end of the day, everybody's going to have different opinions on what and who they find attractive. But the show chooses to kind of not even frame them as attractive.
Because because part of it is that her sisters are supposed to be like fucking weirdos, and they do that well.
Yeah. And then what did she say to one of her? She's like, "Oh, maybe you could talk to, I don't know what that one dude's name was, but she's like, maybe you could talk to him now that you have your dowry back." She goes, "Did I not have
lose it
like,
at one point?" Yeah, that was my next note. Is did I lose it the first time? Because she's like, "What?"
Yeah, it's like that one you could have kept to yourself.
I don't, and that's the thing is I don't think she meant to say it.
She was thinking out loud.
Yeah. So then we find out Marina walks out of the room. Marina realizes she is still pregnant.
Oh, who would have thunk?
Who would have thought? We cut to Anthony fucking Sienna. And Anthony's like, "Come to this ball with me tonight. Let me introduce you to my family." And Sienna's like,
the ball that your sister, the Duchess, is holding? Not even like a ball where your family's going to be there. Technically, a ball that your family is hosting, like, to an extent.
Like, yeah, like, are you trying to give your mother a coronary? Like, what are you doing?
Also, here's a question. Would there be expectations for the Bridgertons at Daphne's ball?
Yes.
Okay. I figured there would be.
That's why Daphne kind of like digs at him later on and is like, "You weren't there last night, you bitch." He's like, "I didn't feel good."
What's the note?
Death is in there for you?
Oh, that's probably Featherington walking to
yes, so Featherington's at a brothel. He's drinking,
So
he goes into he says to the madam, "Do you have someone special in there for me?" And because I knew what was going to happen, I was like, "Death is in there for you."
So, okay, we could talk about it now. One, what was their motive for killing him? Because they got paid a bunch.
Played him.
How, though? Then they get paid?
No. Because Will threw the match, Featherington won, which means he got all their money, all this money.
But why would...
Because they figured out that Featherington arranged it with Will.
But I thought that they basically said that from the get-go, that we know what you're doing because of your reputation.
That's not what it was. They weren't saying we know that you're like, you planned something. They were saying we know that you probably can't get place bets with other more respectable like brokers because
Bookies.
You have no money. You know when they're betting in the club earlier and Anthony writes the IOU because he loses to Featherington?
Yeah.
That's what they're saying, is that he can't make bets with more respectable people because he owes so many people money already. They don't know.
Okay, I thought the fact that they pointed out that he was going for the underdog, they kind of knew, and because they were less respectable, they kind of knew that he had this planned out. And
well, that's not what they're saying. They were saying, we know that you aren't respectable. And then when he's like I'm putting all this money on the beast, they're like, "Are you sure?" And in their minds, they're like, "This is just an easy win for us. We're going to get all this money in this dude's house."
But didn't he say the other half went to the people he owed? Bookies get a cut, do they not? I don't fully understand bookies.
No, bookies don't get a cut.
Then how do they make money? Why would you want to be a bookie?
Well, because I guess they do get a cut, but like they lost money because Featherington set all this up because they had to pay him his wager.
Gotcha. Which was whatever his house was worth. Or was that collateral?
That wasn't collateral. That's what he bet. So it would be that whatever.
They basically had to give him whatever his house is worth. They just went on Yield Zillow and are like, okay.
And well, that would be in the deed.
Yeah.
But and then it would be in addition to whatever if it works like horse racing does, because it was a bet on the underdog who was not choice to win, he would make back what he bet and then like a certain multiplication of it. Because if you bet on an underdog and they win, you make more than you would if you bet on the favorite to win and win.
Yeah.
And they basically figure out that he played them and basically stole what would be in today millions from them. And
okay, this is starting to make a lot more sense. I still feel bad though. Here's the hot take: is I kind of don't. I was like, oh no, like I felt bad at the end, knowing that he. I don't know why.
Think about it like this. This would be like, I'm going to use the Vanderbilts because we grew up in the Hudson Valley and everybody knows what the Vanderbilts were worth because of that. And that they were old money. This was money that had come over from England. Old money. And like they pulled down, like the lords and even a baron, even Featherington being a baron, he's probably getting from his tenants, in today's money, $200,000 a year. They don't have a lot of expenses.
And that's on top of, whatever just their net worth is on, or whatever they have in the family vault.
Whatever fortune they already have.
Yeah.
Pissed all of that away. I don't have pity for him.
It's not so much I have pity for him, but knowing what, like, the way that affects the family kind of hit me. I don't know.
It sucks I feel bad for Lady Featherington and the girls.
Yeah, I guess that's what it is.
I don't feel bad for him. I don't feel bad that he died. I feel bad for how his actions affect everybody else.
Yeah. It was just such a sour note for them, which, like, I know we're not supposed to like them that much, but it felt like too sour. Where it's like they don't deserve that.
Yeah. I think it's also that in the book, Penny doesn't have a lot of hardship in life, so I think they need to give her something too.
We need to give Penny trauma.
Yeah, because like. It'd be boring if in her season the only trauma or the only flaw she has, the only like sad experience she's had in her life is that like men don't really pay attention to her and that she's been in love with Colin since she was 16 and he has no fucking idea.
So I guess because I misunderstood the whole thing that you had just explained, I was trying to figure out, like, I tried to Google some things about Featherington and then I found out that in the books he's actually already dead.
Yeah, that's the other thing, is he's super dead already. So, like, he had to be gone. So,
who's running the estate? Or are we going to meet that character?
I'm assuming we're going to meet that character, because the Featheringtons don't really matter in the books.
Until Penny season, or?
That book is the only book where the Featheringtons matter, and even then it's just Penny. You find out who Portia marries.
So, yeah, that's what I was going to ask. Or not ask.
You want me to tell you who she marries?
No, not yet. But, like, even though she was, like, and then I'm going to use the word older a little bit liberally here. Like, she's middle-aged or a little older. She would still be expected to remarry, right?
No. Sorry. I realized right after I said that I'm getting confused with the names. I'm looking up all of their names really quickly. Hang on.
Portia's the mom. Portia is Lady Featherington.
I'm trying to talk about the
daughters.
So just hang on one second while I pull this up.
One marries the snotty guy, right? Do they end up together?
Not snotty in.
Yes, not like, oh, he's a snotty bitch. Like, I mean, like, there was boogers in his nose. He has had chronic allergies.
He marries Philippa, who's the younger one, the middle child, the one who forgot that Colin is not the father of Marina's child.
They would make such a cute baby. He's not the father. I said this to you off camera once. I'll repeat it here. That, for people who know this reference, that line gave the same energy of In How I Met Your Mother when Barney wakes up hungover in Lily and Marshall's bed and goes, and Lily's pregnant at this point in the show. He's like, "Do you think if we did it, and I did a really good job, I could make that my baby?" Because it's gross, but it's such a funny line. I don't know why.
So funny. No, it's so funny.
I could make that my baby.
I will leave that we have met who Prudence marries.
Is it Ratman?
It's Ratman. She marries Ratman. And it's so funny. I don't... Because everybody's opinion of it is like, huh, it actually makes sense.
No, that makes sense.
It's Ratman.
Ratman.
Anyways, Um, so then we cut back to the ball, to the Duke and Duchess's, to Daphne and Simon's ball. Penny just sticks out like a sore thumb in bright fucking yellow. We get my favorite scene in the entire show, which is the love is a choice scene. Because it's very true, and I think
that Violet, the kind of monologue that Violet gives to Daphne.
I fully subscribe to this idea. Love is absolutely a choice. Not who you necessarily fall in love with. That's not what I'm saying. You do have to, in a healthy relationship, have to wake up every day and make the choice that you are going to approach everything that happens in your relationship with love, and be understanding, and that be the forefront of your relationship is that love and understanding, and you have to make that choice, work on that. And it's similar, and Daphne says it to Simon in a little bit, where it's like he's the only one who can make the choice to be with her, and to overcome all of his shit with his father. I love that scene. The music, it's called Love is a Choice. It's beautiful music. Then
I also like the confirmation that like they were one of the few that Violet and her husband were one of the rare couples that were actually in love.
Or in love, and they love their kids, and it's very sad, and like I love them so much. It starts raining. Everybody has to leave the ball except Simon. Daphne won't leave the floor,
She's
so
just
Simon
laughing.
stays. She's dying laughing, which I get it.
And then Lady Danbury, like the bamf she is.
Lady Danbury's like, because Philippa and Snotty Guy are about to walk back out.
I thought that's what was going to happen, is that like Daphne, it was going to be that very cliche thing of Daphne was going to make the best of it and everybody else was going to join in. They were going to have a ball in the rain. And Danbury's like, no, we're not doing that trope. Fuck off.
And I love the look the Queen and her give each other of like, we get this, you and I.
Danbury and the Queen, or Daphne and the Queen?
Danbury and the Queen.
Yes.
They're standing next to each other when she does that, and they kind of have this like moment together.
Yeah. Well, there's also that that scene, or the monologue in the very beginning of this episode, the narration about how nobody knows what's happening behind closed doors with couples, and there's they mentioned the King George is illness. Yeah, his illness again, and they don't really say anything about Danbury, but from what you've told me is that like she had obviously we know she was married at one point.
And her husband was an asshole. She did not like her husband.
Oh no, okay, I thought they had a sweet. No, okay.
She also doesn't like most of her children.
She has children?
She has 8 children, and she doesn't like most of them.
Oh, see, I thought it was like a sad situation where like she never had children.
No, she had kids, and she thinks they're all dumb.
And so she was like, I found this boy. He's my son now.
Yeah, Simon's my son now. And she loves... So Hyacinth's your husband. They meet through Lady Danbury, because Hyacinth becomes very close with Lady Danbury. And Gareth's mom is Lady Danbury's daughter. And she did not like the man that her daughter married. And she didn't approve of the union, but her husband, obviously she had no power in that situation.
Yeah.
And Gareth's mother has passed. And the whole thing is that, like, Gareth's father hates Gareth for a bunch of fucking reasons, and Lady Danbury hates him, and, like, it's a whole fucking thing. Not Gareth. She loves Gareth.
That's what I was going to say, is, like, she hates the decision her daughter made. And she hates the man.
It wasn't even the decision her daughter made. It was this decision her husband made. Her daughter didn't want to marry her husband either.
But she never took that hate out on the child that became of that relationship.
She loves Gareth. She loves Gareth. She hits him when she first sees him in that book because he doesn't come to visit her. But yes, he is it's her daughter's husband, and that's his kid. And then she doesn't like her son, but I don't remember why. There is one son she likes, though, because in the very first book that Julia Quinn published, like one of the first books that Julia Quinn published, that's where she introduced Lady Danbury. It has nothing to do with Bridgertons, but she introduced Lady Danbury because all of her books take place in the same universe.
The Bridgerton Cinematic Universe, the BCU.
Truly. And like Netflix makes it sound like they're making
a BCU. Well, see, I was going to say, when you were going through the list before, I was like, I really hope that Gregory's wedding scene is like the portal scene in Endgame, and we're just going to see all the characters. Like, you know, we'll see Daphne and Simon and their kids, and we'll see Anthony and his wife, and like pew by pew, we'll see.
Tell you, I will cry.
Like, pew by pew, we'll see kind of each of the families that have developed.
Yeah, because it's
like, I know that, like, I don't know how important Gregory's book is. I assume his wedding is important to his story, of course, but I feel like they have an opportunity to make his wedding a beautiful, just love letter to the show.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because
Netflix, hire us. We've got ideas.
Netflix, we got you. Yeah, it's Everything in the Moon. It's the Leiden sisters, I think. It has some connection to Lady Danbury. Anyways, it doesn't matter. Anyways, we can talk about that later. So then we're now getting the wrap up. Colin is leaving on his travels. That horseback goodbye is so fucking funny.
Yeah, is he taking the horse to the ship?
Yes, he's riding the horse. That's why the groom is there, is he's riding the horse to where he's going to get on the ship to Greece, and then the groom is going to bring the horse back.
So the groom has to walk the whole way?
I'm assuming the groom has another horse, is that's usually how it worked, and then he would lead.
Oh, you would lead the other horse. Gotcha.
Just very fun. And I know that, like, women weren't allowed to go to the docks, so they have to say goodbye there. But, like,
women weren't allowed to go to the docks?
It was unseemly.
So that means women never, ever had to travel outside the country?
Oh, if they were traveling, obviously they have to go, but that's different. That's getting on a cruise liner that's meant for women to travel on. Colin isn't traveling on those kinds of ships.
Gotcha. That's stupid.
Think about it like women could be on the Titanic. That's the only time they could be at the dock.
Well, I just meant like in a scenario where fucking, let's say Colin met someone in Greece and falls in love with her, or let's say they were like the queen and they had relatives in fucking Prussia and they want to go visit them. They can't get on a fucking ship to do that as a family?
That they can get on the ship. But it's different. It would be in a different area. Colin's taking like what poor people would take to America, like those kind of like really basic.
Okay. He's taking like Spirit Airlines.
Yeah. And yeah. Oh, also, Anthony does go to get Sienna and finds out that Sienna is fucking another guy.
And she was like, no, like what I said before, I stand by. And this almost sounds like Sienna it sounds like she accepted that Anthony's never going to be able to.
Anthony jerks her around.
Well, it's not even that jerks her around. It's like deep inside, she knows that even if he had the balls one day to be like, this is who I'm married, like, no, he's really not going to be able to get away with that. Is he? And
even if he did, he could in theory, but she's right. No one would say anything to him. They would say it to her. She would never be accepted as part of society. She would never be able to have friends in society outside of his sisters. Like,
so, like, why put herself through that?
Like, yeah, like she can't put herself through that. And so as they're saying goodbye, Anthony reveals to Simon and Daphne that he plans to marry next season, and then is dead inside and looks at Simon with completely dead eyes and goes, love doesn't matter. I'm taking love and romance out of the situation and we'll call it a day.
And it's almost this moment where like Simon and Daphne are like, we just went through fucking 8 hours. I know like obviously the show's taken over the course of weeks, but it's like we just went through this. Do we teach him the lesson now?
Yeah, and it's just like
they're kind of looking at him like, oh,
Anthony's also just dead inside.
Move.
And I think Simon's face is like a little because Anthony literally just, there's nothing going on back there.
Yeah, he's looking at marriage like a business transaction right now.
And that's how he looks at it in the beginning of the book. That's the whole fucking thing. Is he literally decides like he decides that Edwina is the prettiest girl of that season, is the diamond of the first water of that season. He decides he's going to marry her, and that's the end of the conversation. And then
I mean, is he at least going to pick a backup? Like, you know what I mean? It's like you have your first choice, you have your safety school.
No.
He just assumes he can get the diamond.
He's like, I'm going to marry Edwina. Because I know what will happen. I know she'll marry me. I know she'll have me. I'm going to marry her. It's going to be fine. And then he falls in love with her sister instead. It's very cute. It's not bad. Edwina doesn't really like him. Like, she doesn't dislike him, but she isn't interested in him. But he just is like, I'm marrying you. And she's like, I have no real reason to say no. Like, okay. And then, but instead he falls in love with Kate. It's very cute, and I'm very excited. That was the end of the episode. The first season.
Did we have anything else to discuss?
But first, we find out.
We have that big thing to discuss, but do we have like any other small stuff to discuss? No. So
we then get the reveal of who Lady Whistledown is, and that it is Penelope Featherington. I love it. I think it makes a ton of sense.
I don't know if I like the decision as much as you do, but it does make a lot of sense.
Yeah.
I don't know if what I said makes sense, but...
Yeah, I mean, it's like one of those things where, like, I don't really care who Lady Whistledown is. I'm happy that it makes sense, and I think that's why I like it so much.
I really thought it was the queen for a good chunk of the show. And I feel like that would have been a hilarious reveal.
It would make her look psychotic, because she's been talking to everybody about how she needs this woman to, like,
exactly.
die.
Well, until that point. But what I mean when she was like, you need to uncover her for me, it was kind of like, you know, oh, that's going to throw her off. That's fucking hilarious. Kind of the same way Penny probably the whole time was like, oh, yeah, you're right, Eloise. We're definitely, yes, it's a tradesperson. Yeah. Oh, I know what I wanted to say. If we just want to put the Lady Whistledown thing on hold for a second, because I know we're going to have a lot to say
I don't really have that much else to say about it, so...
Oh, really? Okay. The ending scene in the Featherington household, the one that kind of did get me. One, it's sad...
When they find out that the money's gone.
Yeah. Well, when they find out that their dad's dead.
Yes.
And then... there is just like that somber mood in the house, and she's staring at his bed, and Marina asks,
and Marina goes, yeah,
how she did, and she goes, you find things to love? Because you also get the idea that, like, the Featheringtons didn't seem to have as bad as a relationship as, like, the general and his wife.
I think it's...
Or they handled it differently.
Yeah, it's that they handled it differently. It's heavily implied that, like, Portia didn't like him. Like...
Yeah, but at the same time, it's like this. It was a constant in her life too.
Yeah, it's also like you'll read a lot of stuff too, where like even if you didn't like your husband, it's very weird when that person who has been such a big part of your life for so long, that person who has literally been inside you, is no longer alive.
Yeah. And I think they've also done studies with like people who got married for love or their feelings and stuff. Like, you know, they're always very much happier. And arranged couples aren't. But then, like, when they do the surveys, like, 25 years in, they actually have very similar levels of happiness. I mean, you could call that Stockholm Syndrome.
Really happy. I think it's like a weird thing.
It's a big change in your life.
How did I not know this was happening? I think is the big thing for Portia of how did I live with this man and not know he was fucking us up the ass.
But does she... like, does the estate now go to the male? To some male?
It's gonna go to some cousin, and I think...
But, like, at what point does it? Because, like, Lady Danbury still gets to live in her house.
Because her husband died and he already had kids. Had an heir already who took over. She doesn't. But
shouldn't the heir get that house?
He's going to.
Why doesn't he? Like, have her kids been around and we just haven't seen them? Or are they adults and already married?
She probably doesn't live in the house that she lived in with her kids. It's probably the same thing as what happens with Violet once Anthony gets married.
Okay, just because she's around so much, I assume.
Yeah. No, she's just at some house in London. That's not the house they would have grown up in. Her son lives in, like,
it was just such a big house. I assumed that was, like, the Danbury house.
Yeah, no, it's just that her son paid for it.
Gotcha.
Like, and that... usually in wills, money was set aside to take care of the wife and, like, all that kind of stuff.
So, like,
that's why, like,
assuming Featherington had a brother, we would have to just hope his brother's nice enough to give that money to his nieces.
Literally. That's why at the end the maid comes running up and gives the name to Lady Featherington, is because...
Was that the name of the person who killed him or the person who's going to get the estate?
The person who was going to get the estate. she can't do anything about the person who killed him. It's finding out now who's getting the estate.
And just hoping they're a good enough person. And do they reveal what the relationship is to Featherington? Is it a cousin, a brother?
Literally, the Featheringtons literally don't matter in the books.
Okay. They just put so much emphasis on them. And I'm not, again, I was sad that...
I have a feeling it's going to be...
something that becomes an issue in Colin's season.
Yeah.
Because the other
either
thing...
Colin's season or or even the next season, I think there's going to... It may be a character that kind of gets their role rewritten.
Okay. Because what I was going to ask is, in those situations, if the person who gets the estate is a dick, what happens to them? Does she just have to become a tradesperson and, like, make her own living? Does she truly just end up homeless?
You just hope that either you can get remarried or that your daughters can.
And that the son-in-law takes care of you. Wow.
There are entire books where, like, another Julia Quinn book, I don't like these storylines, but the heroine is a dickhole to the hero because he's the one who inherited the house and she's afraid she's going to get thrown out.
Oh, so they're like distant cousins?
No, she's like, I don't fucking understand Henrietta. Henrietta's fucking annoying, and it's really upsetting because the hero of that book is so good, and the heroine for him is just not.
Yeah.
Not a good time. Anyways, but yeah, that's literally the whole thing. I'm assuming that's going to be one of the early things we find out in the new season.
Gotcha.
I'm glad you enjoyed the show this much, though.
LeighErin, so I don't know if this is a conversation we should have on camera. I don't know if I want to wait a year to watch the second season. And part of me is like, do I sacrifice content? Like, let's hope by the time that this goes up, we've had an answer on this. I don't know. Like, do I sacrifice next year's content to be happy now? Because here's the other thing, is now that I know things, if I see something on Twitter, it'll mean something. I'm sure I read half these spoilers last year, and they just meant nothing. Nothing.
I would recommend... I had just as much fun rewatching this now with you to talk about it.
But I feel like next... If we were to do tea time next year in preparation for season 3, I feel like you knowing everything and me not takes this dynamic away.
You're not going to read the books, though.
Yeah, but then that's that's the thing. That's the only leg up you have on me. Here it's like you have two. This is a Marvel School for Dummy-esque system we've got.
Yeah, we'll figure it out. This is why I said when I initially pitched the show that, like, we might not want to wait and do a recap of season 3. We might want to do it like right after or something like that, but it's up to you. I'm just glad you enjoyed the show because it was one of those things that, like, I watched it and I knew you would really like it. Because it's a period piece, but it's so fun.
It is, and I think I've said this to you, where it's like, I know myself enough to know, like, there's a good chunk of, and I don't think movies or shows need to be gender, but, like, I know that there's a bunch of chick flicks I love, and that I should just embrace it sometimes.
Oh, I love it so much.
I love it.
But we'll figure out what we're doing about season 2. There definitely will be a tea time season 2. Whether it comes out, when it comes out is still up for debate, but it will come, just even if Jordan and I have to force everyone in shared screens to allow it, because Jordan and I really like the show and really like talking about it.
We will figure something out. This feels
because
so
the other
sad.
thing
this
is,
feels like the end of an era.
There was a huge jump between season 1 and season 2 because of COVID. So the time between, they've already been renewed through season 4, so the time between season 2 and season 3 might be shorter.
Well, season 1 came out when?
Like 2019.
No.
Yeah.
Because I feel like I heard about the show when it dropped, but I feel like it didn't come out in 2020?
They filmed in 2019. It premiered Christmas 2020. Yeah, because I watched it like 2 weeks after it came out.
Okay, because a part of me was also like, I also feel like it might have been 2021. But yeah, so like there's a lot of things when they drop on Christmas, they kind of hold the public ear for like the beginning of the year.
Yeah, and the reason it took 2 years for this to come out is because of COVID.
So did they film the second season in 2021?
Yeah.
But if they squeeze the seasons too close together, at some point they're going to have to hold off and wait for like some of these people to age.
So they've already written, I'm reading this right now, on May 14th, 2021, it was revealed that it had already begun writing and getting ready to produce the 3rd season.
Yeah. I just feel like if they start doing like a season a year or even closer.
Yeah, the production of the 2nd season began in March 2021. It had been delayed because of the COVID-19 pandemic.
Gotcha.
It was supposed to film in early 2021 and had to wait a couple of months. It was supposed to film right after the 1st season came out. And I think that's kind of their plan for this too. Is that they'll start filming the 3rd season soon. Yeah, production for the 2nd season wrapped November 20th, 2021. So I would guess that they're going to start filming season 3 sometime this summer.
Yeah.
And then go from there. But we'll figure it out.
We'll figure it out.
I don't want you to wait because I want to be able to talk to you.
I want to be able to talk shit. I want to have whistle down moments with you where you're like, girl, did you hear the newest thing? And that's why we called it tea time. Have you heard the latest tea?
This thing. Truly. It works on so many levels. But yeah, it's I'm so excited. It's gonna be good. It's gonna be, I think you're gonna love Kate.
That's the other thing. It's also Anthony season. And that's like the one I don't want to wait on.
I know. That's the other thing. Is like Anthony, I feel like, who would you say your favorite character is?
That's tough.
Mine is Benedict.
That's tough for me for like a multitude of reasons. Because like in some ways, my favorite character is Lady Danbury. In other ways, it's Eloise. And for like very weird reasons, I'm like, you guys are my favorites. But in terms of like the people who really, really matter to the main plot, I'd say Daphne, because she put Simon in his fucking place, and it's like nice to see him get there. But I don't want to say he's my favorite because he's a dickhead for so many of the episodes, if that makes sense. I like the growth he goes through.
No, I understand that.
Yeah. I definitely personally see a lot of myself in like Anthony and Benedict at the same time.
Yeah, I'm excited.
I know you see a lot of Anthony in me.
Yeah. And I have a feeling that also after the 2nd season drops, we're going to get like Netflix is going to be like, oh yeah, we've renewed it for 5, 6, 7, 8. I'm trying to see if I see, just bear with me one moment. Yeah, the prediction is everything that is kind of being said is that season 3 they're hoping will drop in early 2023.
Okay. We'll figure it out and we will keep you guys updated.
Yeah. Pay attention to our socials. You'll see us talk about it, but maybe keep your eyes peeled for a special episode about some other stuff coming up. And thank you for enjoying this lovely season. It was full of scandals, full of love and intrigue and
sex and
lots
drama.
of boning.
Lots of boning.
And the sex in season 2 is going to be wild. They have really wild sex. Good
for them. I'm proud.
At one point, Anthony threatens to tie her down. So
in a fun way or like in a creepy way?
In a fun way, in like a hot way. The line that goes with it's hot. All right. Thank you so much for joining us. You can follow us on shared screens on all social media. And if you like the way we recap Bridgerton, we do a very similar podcast with our friend Victoria called Marvel School for Dummies. And you can follow us on social media at Marvel School Pod. Is there anything else you want to promote, Jordan?
No, I mean, just remember to like, comment, subscribe, follow us on Twitter, and then follow Shared Screens on Twitter, and then follow us personally on Twitter as well.
We post fun stuff. And I'm going to be fucking annoying as the 2nd season comes out. So, like, hit me up. I'm always ready to chat Bridgerton. All right. And with that, we will see you next season. Bye.
Bye.